It is once again that time of year when the days are getting shorter and our plants are stretching out to try and reach those final hours of daylight in the day. It's time for grow lights. And I have so many grow lights throughout my home. I use them all year round, but especially during this time of year, I'm putting them on for way more hours, and I'm trying to make sure my plants are still able to grow happy and healthy during these darker months. So today I wanted to go through with you loads of different grow lights I have in my collection, talking about light intensity and aesthetic and vibe and things I like about them, things I don't like about them, and just all things grow lights. Before we get into it though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. Also, I will be putting links to all of these grow lights down below in the description. So if you are interested in getting them for yourself, you can head down there and get them. I will say some of them are affiliate and discount links, and so I might get a small bit of commission at no extra cost to you, but I mean, you'll get a discount, so like, it's a win-win situation for everybody. I totally understand if you don't want to shop through my links. All good, I'm not mad about it, but it's there if you want it. Also, I did a video like this before about a year and a half ago. I took you through 7 different types of grow lights that I was using in my collection at the time, but since then I have gained more, and so today I'm only going to be talking about the ones that I didn't talk about in that video. That video is super comprehensive, just like this one, so if you want more information on grow lights, it's linked down below in the description, and there's discount links in that video over there, just to like separate them. I don't need to like repeat myself, if that makes sense. So, okay, finally, let's get into these grow lights. The first one that I'm going to be talking about is the Barrina T5 LED bar lights. And I actually have quite a lot of these throughout my collection. I think I have them in 3 different spots: my Mills bow cabinet, over my pawn box, and then most recently in my Rudsta cabinet. But the reason I have so many is because they're super cheap and cheerful. You can get 2 bars, I think they come in packs of 2 for £20, but you can get packs of 4, 6, maybe even more. And you can get longer ones as well, but I've not tried them. I just have these because I like how modular they are. You can daisy chain a whole bunch together, and so they only go on 1 plug, yet they do have individual on-off switches, so I could daisy chain 4 together and then turn 1 off, and it's not going to affect the rest of them in the chain. And I really like that about them. It makes them really flexible and easy to work with. They're also super lightweight. I have mine literally command stripped into different places, and that works perfectly fine for them. They come with like clips as well that you could like screw into walls, but I don't need to do that in a lot of the places in my home, and so it's fine. For all of the T5s I went for the warm white option as opposed to the like plain white option. I have heard that one runs a little bit pink, and in terms of light output, because I use my grow lights as lights in my home, it's just a little bit of a harsher light, whereas the warm white feels a little bit more cozy and comfortable, and so that's what I prefer, but it's really personal preference, what you want. Also, I'm pretty sure you can get them in black or white housing to match sort of whatever home aesthetic you've got, which is great. The only downside I've found to the Barrina T5s is that they do not put out the most light. They're not the brightest of bulbs that I have, and that's okay. Like I said, they're cheap and cheerful, and they are buildable, so you can just use more in order to get the sort of desired effect. But even still, I have 4 in my Rudsta, and about 20 centimeters away from the 4 lights being on, that's only 4,500 lux, which is kind of only bright indirect levels of light. So they're fine if your plants are quite close to them, like they are in many of the situations within my home, but I don't think they would work for plants that are further away. Like at a meter, only having 1 of these bars will give you 200 lux, which is like low light and probably almost not even worth it, if that makes sense. I don't have this next light to show you physically in this, but I'll pop a picture here because it is the Soltech Aspect Pendant LED light, which is hanging in my office, and it's like fully integrated into that. It's like installed. I can't take it out. easily, so I'm not going to, but I have had that for quite a while now, and I've found that my plants really love it. The Aspect is a little bit more on the expensive side, coming in at 184 pounds, unfortunately, but I found that it produces quite a lot of light, and my plants have really enjoyed it there. It's on for many hours a day. I think it goes on at like 7 a.m. and off at 10 p.m. So like it's providing a lot of light in the day, many hours, as well as a very bright light. Where a lot of my leaves are, about 20 centimeters away from the Aspect, it's getting like 35,000 lux. That is equivalent to like bright outside daylight. And so my plants are just eating that up. And it has gotten to the point where I have burned some of my plants on the grow light because they got too close to it. So just beware that that is a thing. Your plants might like it so much that they like get too close to it and end up burning themselves. But further down, sort of lower on that sort of shelf, about a meter away, it's still providing 3,000 lux, which is in the bright indirect sort of category, which is perfectly fine for most houseplants. So you can have it much further away than something like the Barrina lights, and it will still provide a whole heck of a lot of light. I also really like the aesthetics of the Soltech Aspect. I think that the light output it has is really nice warmth. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. It's fairly neutral, looks like a sort of normal light you would have in your home, which is great because it's on for so long in the day. I don't need to like worry about it looking weird. Also, like the aesthetics of the housing and the pendant form of it, really nice, and it just looks like a classy light in my home. So really fond of it. And I know Soltech have lots of other different styles. I also have the Grove light from them, which I talked about in my last video, and I would like to try more of them in the future, but I've got 21 grow lights already in my home. I don't think I have space for that many more. Also, I should say Soltech is a US-based company, but they do ship internationally, so if you wanted to try it somewhere else in the world, you totally can get the lights you need for your country. Up next, we're going to talk about a little bit of luxury. This is the Mother LifeSpectrum grow light. It's a little bit difficult to show you because it is actually really big. I normally have it standing just over there on my sideboard. It comes with a lovely stand here, but you can also get wires to hang it as well if you wanted to hang them up. That doesn't work for me in my home. The stand works perfectly fine. But the thing about Mother lights, while I do think they are fantastic and they look so incredibly beautiful and sleek and minimal and the least grow lighty looking grow light I've seen, is the price tag. Unfortunately, this one comes in at a whopping 269 pounds. So I definitely would not call it a budget grow light, but I do think that they work really well for your plants. But while it doesn't produce tons and tons of light, it's perfectly adequate for a lot of the plants I have in my collection, especially because I don't put them too far away. At about 20 centimeters distance, it puts out 4,000 or so lux, which is equivalent to bright indirect light. And so it works perfectly fine. And a lot of my plants have been very happy in front of this grow light, and it hasn't really caused any sort of issues. I just don't put my really high light needs plants in front of it. It also puts out quite a neutral light, another reason why I love it, but you can change the warmth of the light if you want something a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler. It also has like cycles you can use with it where it'll automatically turn on and off with sort of sunset vibes and like dim up or down depending on the time. And it comes with a smart little button thing as well, which connects to an app. So you are paying a little bit of a premium for this one, but it has a whole bunch of functionality, including smart functionality, which none of the other grow lights I've talked about in this have. I personally don't use the smart functionality in this one because I have my own smart system with smart plugs and like timers and stuff like that I don't need to use theirs, but it does come with it, and so if you don't have that already set up, it can be really useful to get this and not have to worry about when to turn the grow light on and off with the smart system. Also, I'm pretty sure it's dimmable, which is great. Personally, like I said, because it's not the brightest, I don't need to dim it, but you can if you want to. Also, I should say it's made of very high quality materials, and you can stack multiple together. Actually, you can get a connector and a second one and make one really tall giant, like 2 meter tall light. So if you have a really tall plant or a section of like shelves that you want to light up fully, you can do that with this one, and you can get an even more gigantic, massive grow light out of it. Also, the mother grow lights are EU based, but they do ship internationally. So again, you can kind of get them wherever you want in the world. We're gonna head back into Budgetland with the Sansi like gooseneck 2-head bulb lights. You can get them in like 1 head or up to 4 different heads because the clamp system comes with it, which is quite cool. You get the whole system in one. Great. I went with the 2-head because I feel like that works well for me in my collection. I have this in my bedroom pointing at the shelves above my bed. They are absolutely loving the grow light here. A lot of my plants that were there before the grow light weren't growing before the grow light was there and are growing now that it is there. Fantastic, I know. That's what we use grow lights for. But this is a great cheap option. This one was 32 pounds and you can get it anywhere you are in the world. They ship internationally, which is fantastic. The downside I have with these is that they aren't the most aesthetic. I don't think they look particularly nice, but I can't have beautiful, perfect, pristine looking lights everywhere in my home. Sometimes I do need to have functional grow lights in order to like keep my collection growing. And these lights, while they're not like the ugliest things in the world, they're definitely not pretty at the same time. They do, however, put out quite a lot of light, which I love. Sansi lights are known for me in my collection for putting out very, very bright light. I have their 36 watt bulb elsewhere in my collection. Love it. Talked about that one in the last video as well. But these guys, even though they're smaller, they still pack a punch. You can get up to like 22,000 lux with both of these pointing in one place about 20 centimeters away. So very, very bright. I personally found it almost too bright for the plants I have up there. So I kind of point them up at the ceiling a little bit so it reflects off of that and diffuses the light a little bit more so they're not shining like straight at the leaves and potentially burning them or like bleaching them. And you can do that because the necks on these are flexible and you can kind of point these in every which way you want. You can point them at the same thing, you can point them at different things. And like a lot of the other lights in this collection, this is a very neutral light. It's not too warm, not too cool. It does lean slightly warmer than cooler, but that's fine for me. I'd rather it be that side than the other way around. And then the last couple of lights I want to talk about are from Grow Gang. They are, however, UK only, so unfortunately, if you live elsewhere in the world, you can't get them. But if you are UK based, they are a great affordable option and I would highly recommend them. This is their newest light that they've just come out with. This is the Pianta 30 and it retails for 45 pounds. So again, not the cheapest light you can get. Their original Pianta is like 32 pounds, I believe. So a little bit more expensive than that, but for a little bit of a brighter, bigger light, makes a lot of sense and still very, very affordable. I also find these ones very nice and sleek, like compared to the Sansi bulbs, which kind of look a little bit industrial. The design on these ones, I feel like it's so much fresher and more minimal and slightly more aesthetic for a bulb, which you're gonna be seeing in a different way than a sort of bar light. I think the aesthetics are very, very nice in these. And this one, just like the other Pianta, is bright. So freaking bright. I basically only have highlight plants in front of it because they would get bleached otherwise. I've got my euphorbias in front of it because they like the high intensity. About 20 centimeters away, it produces 40,000 lux. That's equivalent to outside daylight full sun. It's a lot, I know, but some plants really like that, and for the highlight plants I have in my collection, having a bulb like this is very important because it can provide a lot for them. And if it's too bright, I can just move plants further away from it and the light intensity will get less because that's how light works. So I, so far, am very, very fond of this one. It is a little bit heavy, so if you are getting it, I highly recommend you get it with the Grow Gang Stello clamp and like a gooseneck thing because that should be sturdy enough to hold it up. If you just get like an average gooseneck from Amazon, it might not be strong enough, but they do come in sort of classic E27 bulb types, so you can kind of take any lamp you want and turn it into that if you fancy. I have a lamp over there, which I don't have this bulb in, but I've got another E27 bulb that I could switch this out with and use this instead. So it's a bit more flexible, but you do need to provide your own like fitting for it in order for it to, you know, produce light. Also, it does provide a slightly warm light as well, which again, all good in my home. I might prefer it slightly, ever so slightly more neutral, but it's not really a problem, and my plants seem to be perfectly happy with it, so I'm perfectly happy with it. And then the final lights are another pendant light, which I did just install the other day. It's above my sideboard here, and I can't really take them down. It is the Claria from Grow Gang, which is, again, fairly new, and so I won't be able to talk about long-term thoughts, but first impressions, I do really love these lights. They do come in a little bit more expensive, but because they are pendant lights, I think it makes sense. They are 90 pounds a pop, but compared to the equivalent light from Soltech, that's 160 something. So it's half the price, and so a much more affordable option. Also super sleek, super minimal. They put out a really, really nice light. Just like the other Grow Gang lights, they are bright AF. They are so bright. They can provide a lot of light for my plants. I'm really glad that I've been able to put them over the top of my sideboard here. And in fact, I think some of my plants are a little bit close to these grow lights for them to be happy. At like 20 centimeters away, this light puts out a whopping 50,000 lux. Again, equivalent to like bright sunlight outdoors. And so things are a little bit too close to them right now. Grow Gang recommends a sort of minimum distance of like 30 centimeters away in order for the light to not bleach or burn your plants. I'm sure if I kept my plants like this for a while, that could happen with these ones. So I might need to adjust what I have in front of them, but I don't have very many options, and maybe I just need to put it on for fewer hours in the day, because if you have a really bright light, you can, instead of dimming it or putting your plants further away, you can also do it for fewer hours, and that should, in theory, work as well. I know it's not an exact science, or maybe it is an exact science. It's probably biology. But either way, you can do it for less hours, and it should work in a sort of similar way and hopefully not burn your plants. But like the other Grow Gang lights, I find these incredibly sleek and minimal, and these ones actually have a slightly less warm light than the Pianta bulbs, so it's kind of perfect for having on in the living room, because I don't use my big lights because I don't like them, when I could use grow lights and help my plants grow instead. Kind of like using a lamp. So I really like them. I am glad I've been able to install them in my home, and like glad that my plants are getting overhead light as opposed to just the like in front of light that I've had my mother lights providing for a while. And I will see in time if they are too bright for the plants that are there. We'll see. Maybe I just won't put them on for as long in the day. So yeah, those are all of the new grow lights I have gotten and used in the last year and a half. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found some inspiration for yourself to like try out some new grow lights in your collection. All of the ones I've spoken about here, I would recommend. I use every single day, and my plants do, as far as I've found so far, really love. And yeah, I mean, I would recommend all of them. Like I said, the links are down below in the description if you want to use them. Some of them are discount codes. All good. Get yourself a little bargain there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!